Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good morning. This is Shri here with a quick recap of week number 17. Week number 17 definitely was something that was a very long week when it comes to football because it started off with Christmas Day football, Chiefs and Steelers and Ravens and Texans, and then starting off with Thursday night game. Then we had Saturday games, Sunday games, and Monday game. So total of 5 days from Christmas, you pretty much had football every day. So it's a football lover's dream to watch games 5 days in a week, and that was the exciting part of it. And what did we learn about this week? One thing we did was the Chiefs have now secured the one seed in the AFC race. Every team has to now go through Arrowhead to get to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a very daunting task. I mean, you have a lot of good teams out there, but going into Arrowhead, trying to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead is not an easy task. And I think the only team that has done it, or two teams that have done it in recent memory, was the Patriots in 2018, and the other was the Bengals in the division round on their way to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a tough task for any AFC team. The Ravens have now established a clear-cut favorite in NFC North with an impressive win against the Texans. The Ravens now are at 11-5. The Steelers are at 10-6, and it's going to be interesting with the Ravens host the Browns. So I feel that the Ravens in week number 18 will secure the number one seed. And I think at this point it looks like the Bills are locked in to the number two seed in the AFC, and the Ravens will be the 3 seed. As far as the games that took place this past week, the Chargers punched their ticket into the playoff with an impressive road victory against the Patriots. It was very tough to watch it as a Patriots fan, but the Chargers with Justin Herbert, Ladd McConkey, who's having a breakout year, along with their defense, now has punched their ticket into the playoffs. Let's see if they can make some noise in the playoffs. One of the teams that had playoff aspirations, which is the Broncos, now find themselves in a battle for the last spot. The Bengals came up big victors, but the Bengals need a lot of help in terms of making the playoffs. There are a lot of should have been moments for Bengals because Burrow and Chase Brown are having an excellent year, but the Bengals defense doesn't live up to the expectations. Burrow is actually having almost MVP type numbers, and the only reason why he's not considered because Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold have all put their teams in a great spot for the playoffs. The Rams also punched their ticket. Not a great victory over the Cardinals, but we always know that anytime you have a division game, it's going to be a much closer game. These teams play each other many times, but give the Rams credit. They did make the playoffs after the way they started the season. It seemed like they were looking for a rebuild year, but now they are. They will actually be the number 3 seed in the NFC playoffs. The Eagles continue to roll. The Buccaneers inched again closer to their playoffs as well. And I think I did talk about the Bills now locked in for the number 2 seed. As far as there was an excellent game between the Commanders and Falcons, I did want to talk a little bit about it. And then the Lions yesterday winning impressively against the Niners. But the Lions didn't really need to win this game because the battle for the NFC North will now be played between Minnesota and Lions, and that's going to be a great game. Both are 14-2. Thinking about this, one of the teams which will be 14-2 will actually be a 5 seed in the NFC playoffs, and they will have to travel to. It seems like at this point of time, it looks like the Buccaneers. But that's where we are with that particular division. So let's quickly talk about who is in and who's out. So as I mentioned, in the AFC, you have the Chiefs, number 1 seed. The Bills are the 2 seed. The Ravens will be the 3 seed, and at this point of time, unless they blow that game against the Browns, which I don't think so. And then you have the Texans with the 4 seed. That's locked in. The 5 seed could be. It could be between. I mean, the Steelers will have to win this game because the Steelers are actually the Steelers, and the other team is that you have the Chargers too. So the Steelers play against the. I'm trying to find out who they play next week. But the Steelers play the Bengals. That's an important game for both of them. The Ravens are playing the Browns, so that's at home. So I predict the Ravens win that game. But the Steelers are in the battle with the Bengals. The Bengals definitely have their offense, so I predict the Bengals will beat the Steelers there. We'll do a quick preview later. And then on the other side of things, you have the Broncos playing against the Chiefs at home. The Chiefs have nothing to play for. I'm expecting the Chiefs to rest all their starters. I mean, they're not going to rest Mahomes. They'll probably play Mahomes for 1 or 2 series, and then it'll be the Broncos. So I predict that the Broncos could win that game, and then the Chargers are going to be playing on the road with the Raiders. I expect the Chargers to win that game. So when I look at how things are going to shape up in the AFC, if the Steelers do lose to the Bengals, the Chargers could now climb into the 5 seed. The Steelers could be the 6 seed. That's actually pretty disappointing for the Steelers because they've lost 3 in a row. They were at 10-3. They seem to have the division in hand, and now they could be on the 6 seed out right now. And then as for the 7 seed, it could come between the Broncos. If the Broncos do beat the Chiefs, then they will get up to 10-7. The Steelers, the Bengals could be at 9-8, and they could miss the playoffs, which is very, very unfortunate because I do think that I count them as one of the teams that could potentially pose a threat in the playoffs. But if the Chiefs do rest the starters and Broncos come up victors, Broncos will get the 7 seed and they will go travel up to Buffalo to play the Bills. Well, that's the way I see it in the AFC. So let's recap it. The way I see the AFC will be is Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, Chargers 5 seed, Steelers 6 seed, Broncos 7 seed. This is something that I've been saying it for a while. NFC is the one which has been very topsy-turvy. But let's quickly do the NFC right now. The winner of the Lions and Vikings will be the 1 seed. I predict the Lions would actually win that game at home, but I'm a little worried about their defense. They did let Brock Purdy go up and down. I mean, Brock did make a couple of mistakes, and San Francisco could not kick the ball. And that's why they landed up losers yesterday. And what a fall it's been. I mean, they've been plagued by injuries. They were the Super Bowl favorite. They lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. They had that game to win, but now they're missing the playoffs completely. So in the NFC, I predict that the Lions will win. So they'll go to 15-2. They'll get the 1 seed. The Eagles will end up as the 2 seed. The 3 seed, as I mentioned, the Rams are in the 3 seed. And then Buccaneers, I do think that the Falcons can still win that. But when I look at the Panthers play Falcons, so Falcons can win that game against the Panthers. But the Panthers have been playing very, very tough. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers host the Saints, and again, the Saints would love to kind of to get some damage for against the Buccaneers because that's not a team they like. That's usually a division game anyway. But having said that, let's look at the NFC again. So you got the Lions 1 seed, the Eagles are the 2 seed, the Rams are the 3 seed, predicting the Buccaneers for 4 seed. The 5 seed is the Vikings, and the 6 seed could be the Commanders, and the 7 seed could be 6 seed could be the Commanders or the Packers. That's good. So there's still a lot of drama to play for, and we'll definitely get to that. So I'll do a preview for that, but for now, when I look at the NFL, very well poised. You got exciting teams. You could potentially have a 11-5 team or 12-5 team being the 7 seed, and that's just insane. So that's where we are, guys, for the NFL for week number 17. And we'll get to do a podcast for the playoff podcast with some guests later next week. But until then, have a good rest of the day. And thanks again for listening and thanks for supporting the podcast.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.